So we have a short time together this morning, and I have a very strong intention that no matter what your previous experience or knowledge is with the five elements, whether this is your first time ever hearing about the five elements or whether you've been a practitioner of the five elements in some tradition for many years, I really hope that each of you leave with a new inspiration in your practice and in your life. And in the spirit of that, we're going to spend the first part of the class sharing just knowledge, talking about the five elements and what they are. But then the second part of the class, we're going to share an experience together. We're going to do a meditation, and I'm also going to give you a meditation process that you can do on your own after the class, because one of my favorite things that my teacher ever said was, what good is it if I just sit here and talk to you about the mango if you don't actually get to taste the mango? So really hope that part of the inspiration that people come out of this is in having an experience for yourself. Something new, something different, something you can really feel in your own five element body. In this time we have together, I want to really try to answer three main questions. The first is, what are the five elements? And even if you think you know, just bring an open mind and let's explore together what is this thing we're calling the five elements. And then after that, I want to talk about, why are the five elements important in your life? Why would you want to develop the relationship with the five elements? What would be the benefits of that? And then the last question I would like to answer in this class would be, what's the most powerful way, or one of the most powerful ways, to develop your relationship with the five elements? There's lots of ways, but there is a way that's very, very powerful. So let's jump in, if everybody's ready, and talk about first, what are the five elements? So the five elements: earth, fire, sky, water, and air, are the pillars of the creation. The God energy used the five elements to make the creation. They're the building blocks of the creation. They're the five fundamental vibrations that everything is made of in this creation. Everything we can see or touch or experience through our senses is made of the five elements and is made of all of them. So this pen is a five element creation. This computer is a five element creation. The tree out my window is a five element creation. This body is a five element creation. Each of you are five element creations created from the God energy through the five elements. And there's nothing in the creation that isn't in the five elements. It's just the way it works. So that's the fundamental belief system, the ground that we're going to stand on for the purposes of this talk and this understanding of the five elements. So I know there's people from all over here, and I would hope and assume many different traditions. And of course, I'm speaking from a Vedic tradition, and I'll talk a little bit more about where this particular knowledge comes from. But many, many cultures in this world have the five elements as the basis of their creation philosophy. So, of course, in India and countries surrounding India, it's the basis of the philosophy of spirituality, but just of life. And it's also true in China. So I am an acupuncturist, and when I was first exposed to this particular understanding and practice of the five elements, I was just completing 4 years of Chinese medical training, very intensive medical training. Literally, day one, class one, when you start Chinese medicine training, is the five elements. It's the basis of everything in that culture and tradition and healing. So I would say, a very ripe ground for planting the seed of looking at everything in my life and in healing and in the world around me through the lens of how is this five elements creation influencing everything that's going on? What is going on with the five elements and what I'm seeing? So it is a very prevalent understanding in many cultures and many parts of the world. It's not so much in modern Western culture. I know, of course, in indigenous cultures of the Americas, they work with the elements in very profound ways. And in shamanic European traditions, they work with the elements. So, of course, it's very broadly understood in humanity. But most of us that are living in Western cultures are quite bereft when it comes to the elements as part of the fabric of our day-to-day lives. Unnecessarily, because we are the elements and the elements are everything around us, and it's really our birthright as humans, as souls and bodies, to have a very direct and personal relationship with the elements. So you can understand everything in your life through the elements, your body, your health, the world around you. But the really key part of this philosophy, I would say the secret, which is a secret unnecessarily, is that the cosmic energy, the God energy, divine energy, supernatural energy, sacred energy, whatever you want to call it, whatever word you're comfortable with, that energy is hidden in the creation in each of the elements. It's mixed, so the natural and the supernatural are mixed. So everything is made of the elements, and everything is made of a mix of natural and supernatural energy together. And we can connect with that divine energy and develop our relationship with that divine energy through each of the elements, and through having a relationship and through doing practices with the elements. We can access that divine Shakti, would be another word for it, that's in each of the elements. So that's the secret. That's the take home. If we get cut off now, or you have to leave and you don't hear anything else, just know that God is in the elements, and God is in you, and God is in everything around you. And anyone who has that desire can make that connection and make that link and develop that and have a personal relationship with cosmic energy through the elements without any intermediary. And that's available to all souls in a body. So I feel like that's just a very, very important message for all of us to hold in our hearts and to be inspired by. So that is really why, that's the answer to why would you want to develop your relationship with the elements, would be because you want to develop your relationship with the divine, with the cosmic, with the supernatural. And then once we connect with that energy and have access to it, of course, God is love, God is healing, so that energy naturally heals our lives and blesses our lives and inspires great creativity in our lives. And as we develop that energy in us, it's an inevitable outcome that energy will then go out from us to bless and heal the lives of the souls around us and the people around us. It's just what that energy does. So the question is, right now that cosmic energy is mixed into everything. So like, how do we get the sugar from the sugar cane? How do we access that cosmic energy that's in the elements? So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit, some hints and some clues and the ways to start pulling out some of that energy that's hidden inside of the elements, that cosmic energy, that divine Shakti that's there, just waiting for us to find it and interact and develop and use it. One of the things to me that's kind of interesting is like, the God energy made this creation and is in this creation, is in the elements, but yet each of us needs to go through our own process to find that energy and pull it out and then share it again into the creation. It's kind of like a funny God game that we're in, but really what it means when we can access that cosmic energy is that we can become channels of God's love and blessing in the creation. And I would guess that a lot of people on this call would feel that that would give a great meaning, or perhaps that's already a desire in your heart or your life to serve the souls around you, to be of use, to be good, to help. And this is a very practical way to become that kind of a blessing channel in the creation. And I don't think I need to convince anyone that that is needed very, very much. And there can't be too many of us doing that. So I hope this will be an inspiration that some of you who might be looking for, how can I be of service? How can I help? How can I bless? This is a way to do that. This development of working with the 5 elements and becoming a soul that has access to the cosmic energy hidden in the creation and blessing the creation with it, we called this class Heal and Awaken with the 5 elements. So that could be a definition of enlightenment, or a stage of enlightenment, is to be a channel of divine blessing to the world and to others. And actually the 5 elements, when they're really practiced and developed, it is the first stage of enlightenment for a soul. So these are enlightenment channels, but that's kind of a big lofty word that has a lot of different meanings. So just healing and awakening and blessing to me are words that are very comfortable and familiar. So I'm going to stick with those. But enlightenment is not a wrong thing to say when you're talking about really understanding the elements. Let's just talk a little bit about a couple of elements. But before I do that, I just want to say that all of you, I am certain that everyone on this call, you have already experienced the God energy through the elements in your life. Healing and blessing and taking care of. You might not have recognized that that's what it was. So think of a time in your life where maybe you just weren't feeling that well, or you were in confusion about something or in distress, and you went on a hike by yourself out in the nature, and you came back and you felt better. Has that ever happened to anyone here? That you just, something was wrong, and then you come back and you're like, okay, I'm more at peace, I have clarity. Maybe, so you experience the healing power of the sky element when you did that. You experience God healing you and taking care of you without maybe knowing that's what was happening. Or maybe there was a time at a fire, or you, again, if you have an altar or a practice and you sit at your altar and you light a candle and you look at that flame and you have peace brought to something that's not at peace inside of you. That is the God energy healing you through the elements. So for me, I can say all my life, ever since I was very little, I grew up on the East Coast, and we would go to the ocean, and it was like, just for me, that was just medicine. Just being at the water like that, or any body of water, is just heals and soothes me at the deepest level of my heart and soul. And I know I'm not the only one like that. They just experience being around water as healing. So this is esoteric and complicated on one level, and on another level, just come back to the basics and remember, all of you remember times in your life where you've already experienced that, the elemental energy as healing. So let's talk a little bit about, now this is very hard to choose because I love all of the elements. One of the names I thought about calling this class was Falling in Love with the Elements, because it really becomes that when you start to have this exchange of energy and feel that in your heart. It's very much like falling in love. You're onto something as you feel it in your heart. That's a clue that something's happening. Your heart opens and your heart is saying, yes, whatever this is, I want more. So, but I picked 2 elements. Now, each one we could talk about for many hours. But I'm going to just pick 2 and briefly go over the special qualities of 2 elements, earth and fire. Each element has very unique characteristics of how it works in the creation and what it does, and also how the divine energy comes through and how we access it specifically. So learning those characteristics and learning how the God energy comes through can really help us in our development and maybe recognizing where we're interacting on an elemental level without even knowing it. So the first element I want to talk a little bit about, and this is just a very brief overview and taste, but it's enough to get you guys thinking and looking in your own life. Hey, where am I experiencing this energy? Where I've been drawn to this energy? How is this energy already in my life supporting and helping me? So one element that we just can never get away from is the earth element. Earth element is the body of the earth that we're on. It is our bodies. Our bodies have all the elements, but we're mostly earth because earth is matter. Earth is density. And earth is, so here's a quote. What is the greatness of the earth element? There is an energy, an immense energy in this universe. An earth element is endowed with a specific type of cosmic energy. This planet's natural earth element has vast magnetic power, with magnetic power of different types able to absorb and maintain any vibration in the nature. Enormous energy is held and available in the earth element channel. So right there is the main clue as to what is the specialness of the earth energy, is that it's magnetic and it holds and it pulls vibrations. So an enormous energy is available in the earth. So if we need a source of energy, the earth element we can go to. And one of the very special healing characteristics of earth element, now earth is magnetic, right? Earth pulls because it's gravity, but it's more than gravity. It's really an energetic principle. So one of the things that the earth element does with or without our notice is it pulls disturbance and stress and what you could call negativity out of us. So I know that everybody here has experienced going outside and feeling better, right? Like just the natural experience of just being on the earth and you feel better. And that is because the earth element, whether we know it or not, whether we ask it or not, will decharge, will pull our stress and negativity out of us. So, and then transform that. So it's not like we touch the earth and we, do anything bad. It's the quality of the earth element is to be able to absorb that negativity and naturally transform it. So that's one way that we can use the earth element for our own personal healing and maintaining our vibrations and our just for self-healing. We're going to talk about that when we talk about the self-healing technique. But on the other side of that ability to pull negative vibrations, the earth element can also pull and store and hold positive vibrations. So have anyone here has ever been to a temple in India, or a temple really in any culture, or even a church, any place where a lot of sincere worship has been done? If you notice, they build temples of stone. And not little baby stones, they build temples of the biggest stones they can get. And the reason for that is because with earth element, bigger is better. Like that earth will hold the vibrations of the ceremonies, of the prayers, of the bhakti, of the hearts of the worshipers that are there. And it will hold them and it will develop them. So especially if you go somewhere where worship has been done for hundreds or thousands of years, it's like an echo chamber of positive vibrations that just keep feeding back. And this is a big part of the mechanism of pilgrimage. And this isn't just true in India. I mean, there's sacred sites all over the world. I have many friends that have done pilgrimages to Teo, to these sacred sites that have been sites of prayer for a long time. And people go there, people spend incredible amounts of time and energy and difficulty to get their bodies of their earth element to the earth element of these sacred places. Why? Why do people go through so much trouble to do that? It's because they can absorb and receive into themselves the positivity that's held in the earth element of the land. The quality of the earth element to hold positivity also comes into play when you have any holy statue. So if any of you have an altar where you might have a statue of a divine soul, a divine being, any divine being that your heart is open to, that you look at or pray to or worship in any way, that statue, the earth element in that statue, is actually receiving your prayers and your worship and holding it and developing it and giving it back out to you. So I don't know if anyone here has a statue that you find your attachment to it is growing over the years. And that's part of the mechanism, because there's something very real happening there between you and that object is being infused with divine energy and holding it and giving it back to you, or to anyone that was to come into your space and have the blessing of seeing that object. And that's the same of a statue or a murti that's in a temple, which is another reason why it's so powerful to go to temples or churches, just because where people have worshipped with an open heart, the earth energy will absorb that and share it back out. So that's a very real spiritual mechanism that's happening. And this is also the case with the earth element of any real wild nature. Has inherent, beautiful, divine healing properties. And again, I think many of us here, if we're able, will take the time to get out into the nature and are experiencing a healing from that. So the earth element is also, it's in statues, it's also in stones and jewelry and objects. So this is good to know, because the objects that we have hold vibration and can hold positive vibration. They can also hold not positive vibrations. So that's, just a good thing to know if you have, your aunt's old jewelry that maybe you can just look at your life and think, what are the vibrations in the earth element around me? And is it really what I want it to be? So I'm going to have to pull myself back because I get a little excited talking about the earth element. I'm going to switch to one of my other favorite elements, and that is fire. And here's a small quote about the fire element. The flame is the tiny symbol of the huge light of God. It is a piece of God's light burning in every part of creation. Candlelight is symbolic of the energy of God. So I love that, and I feel the truth of that in my heart, and I know there's people on here that are fire people who love fire and have also felt the truth of that before anyone told you that the divine is in the fire. And anyone who's ever lighted a candle as an act of devotion, you know that in your heart. But of all the elements, the fire really directly symbolizes the God energy. So it's a very direct access to have that around and in our lives all the time. If we can safely have fire in our environment, we can have that direct connection. So besides being a very direct symbol and emissary of divine energy, a couple of really important qualities of fire to understand, probably the most important, is that the fire element naturally and automatically and immediately burns negativity, burns stress, burns energies that we don't want or need to be carrying. So this, again, I'm sure everyone here has had the experience of just being at a campfire and being mesmerized by the fire and just feeling better and being drawn. Like, as humans, if we see a fire, we're just, right, you want to go towards it. And that's because that fire, again, like the earth element, with or without our knowing it, the fire will pull that from us and naturally decharge us. So knowing that, that's something we can also work with intentionally. But just know that having fire around, having a candle in your environment, being with the fire in any way is naturally burning stress and negativity and anything in your life that's a suffering or that you're carrying as a burden. But the fire doesn't just burn negativity. Like the earth element in its own way, fire can also generate high positive vibrations. So again, whatever spiritual tradition you may have come from, I can't even think of a tradition that doesn't use fire. And that's because when you pray or worship in the presence of a flame, the flame will aid in generating and amplifying and increasing the positive vibrations that you are creating with your worship. The flame grows those. And one of the characteristics of fire is it also sends. So if you're doing a prayer or a ceremony on behalf of somebody or something, it will send that energy into the creation very powerfully. So here, for example, at the Divine Mother Center, on every full and new moon, we do fire ceremonies where we chant sacred mantras, sacred prayers, and we feed them to the fire. And those ceremonies are done not for us here, although we get tremendous benefit from being there, but they're done on behalf of the world and the students in the community and for anyone who wants to join in and receive those energies and be blessed by them. Because fire is so powerful at generating and sending positive energy. So again, it's automatic, but knowing this and we can work with it and we can develop it. So the other elements also all have their own qualities. You're beginning to get a sense of kind of the personality, and some of it's very intuitive about what the elements do. Now you can think about, fire burns. Of course it would burn negativity. Earth absorbs. But one other thing I actually forgot to say about the fire element, very important quality of the fire element is that in our body, we have all the elements in our body, and of course the fire is our metabolism and our life force, but the fire element mostly lives in our third eye, in our Trinitra chakra, which is the chakra in the center of our forehead. And this is a big topic that I'm not going to go into in depth, but this chakra really is the seat of our spiritual life and an important way to access our own personal connection with the divine energy that's informing our soul and our life. So awakening our third eye and developing our third eye is a really important part of any spiritual life and happens largely through our interactions with the fire channel. So that's one of the blessings that the fire channel gives as we develop our relationship with it, is the development and the burning away of the illusions that are covering most of our third eyes. We don't know who we are. We don't know our own divinity. And that's what's underneath and waiting for all of us to remember and discover. So I've been talking a little bit indirectly here about, I've mentioned the word decharging a few times and negativity, and I just want to back up and kind of create a framework, which is that there's kind of two basic things that we're doing all the time with our energy. And one of them is we're gathering, right? We're developing, we're seeing things that are positive, and we're saying more of that, more positive qualities, more positive energy, more energy to do the things that matter to us in our life. And through each of the elements, we can gather positive energy, gather that Shakti. But just as important as gathering positive energy, and that's why most of us pray or do worship or have a spiritual path, is we want to feel good things. We want to feel bliss. We want to feel happy. We want to feel peaceful. But in order to achieve those positive states, of course, we need to release what I'm going to call negative energy. Now, some people get a little uncomfortable with the word negative energy, but really you can translate negative energy as anything in your life that is causing suffering for you. It doesn't have to be something that you would look at and think this is some terrible, horrible thing. It's just, it could be a mental tendency that you have. Like I overthink and I worry. So that's a negativity for you, that mental habit. It could be a physical problem that you have. It could be some pain, emotional pain that you're carrying in your heart. Not something terrible, just, I can't quite forgive that friend since we had an argument and I feel that in my heart and it pinches. I'm not dying, I'm not suffering, it's not terrible. So negativity, of course, can be extreme and severe, and that's in the world and that's in people's lives at this time. But please don't think, I don't have anything terrible, I don't have negativity. So what really is just whatever is in your life that is your suffering, your disturbance, your stress, that goes in the category of negativity. And the first part of the process of becoming an empowered, awakened spiritual soul is learning to recognize where that negativity or suffering is in our life and feeling empowered that we can do something about that, that we really can, here and now, not later, right in this moment, we can take care of our own energy. And the best and the first way to do that is through the element channels. So again, each of the 5 elements has ways you can use to charge and connect and pull positive energy, but also decharge negative energy and stress and anything in your life that's a disturbance. And so don't think of negativity as a scary word. It's a natural part of the creation that we're in. And it's not something we want to focus on. We just want to be aware and recognize it and take care of it. So I'm hoping, and my prayer is that everyone listening to this live and listening to the recording feels empowered and does this practice that I'm about to teach. Because I promise, I'm making a promise, and you can hold me to that. If you do it, you will feel something and you will feel better. And if you do it once, you will feel a little bit better. And if you do it repeatedly and do it every day for a week or a month, or most days for a week or a month, I want you to write down on your calendar when you start, and then I want you to look back in a month after doing this, and I want you to see the ways that your life has changed. And it might be very dramatic, but you might just say, you know what? Wow, I'm not waking up at 2 a.m. like I was every night worried about this situation at work. And in our world, any relief like that is actually a really big deal. I won't quite call it a miracle, but I worked as a practitioner for 15 years and had thousands of conversations about people, about their lives and their suffering. And I know that the things that we each carry in our lives in this world that we live in today generally don't change easily, but they can. And with the elements, you can change those small sufferings, and you can develop your confidence to change the big sufferings in your life. So start with something small and use this practice and see. And let me know how it goes. So here's a self-healing technique using the earth element. So the technique is that you take some flowers. They can be any kind of flowers. Roses are wonderful. Roses have a special high divine vibration that really help with healing. So if you have access to roses, use those. But sunflowers are great, and any flower. It's the middle of winter in a lot of places, so just whatever you can get will work. So get some flowers and put a couple of flowers in your hand and sit somewhere peacefully. And while you're holding the flower, you can say these 2 prayers to yourself. The first prayer, and the simplest, is just, right now I'm decharging my stress and negativity into these flowers. And then you can think on whatever it is. So pick something Pick a specific thing in your life. Again, not the biggest thing, but again, maybe some mental tendency, some small thing that's bothering you, and decharge your stress about that situation into the flowers. Another prayer you can say that's a little stronger is, right now I'm sending all my stress, depression, negative energy, I'm sending into these flowers. Oh God, please use these flowers. Send my stress into these flowers. And of course, the more you can open the heart and the more your heart and say that sincerely, just you have to ask. So we all know the experience of just seeing flowers and feeling better. So again, there's the automatic decharge. But when we put our intention, we are divine creators. We have powers we don't know. So putting our intention to something creates a quantum of power. So if you hold a flower and you know this flower is the earth element. Right now I'm decharging through the earth element. I'm decharging my stress and negativity into this flower. And you can say the specific thing that you're feeling stress and negativity about. And in whatever way you feel or connect or know the God energy, you can open your heart to that. But if not, you can just know, I'm praying to God, the God that's in the earth element. It's in these flowers. And flowers are a very special kind of secret tool in this. And if you think about flowers, what happens if you're walking in the nature and you see a beautiful flower, your energy goes to it. So all aspects of the earth element have that magnetic quality, but flowers actually have that especially strongly, that they can pull energy. So we're using the flower to pull our stress and negativity in the case of this healing. It's just natural. They will suck it. And then the important thing to remember, though, with this healing is that those flowers are sucking your stress. So you don't want to put them back in a vase and put them in your room, right? You want to take them out and throw them in the bushes or put them in your put them somewhere where they can just go back to the earth and no one will find them or touch them. So this same kind of healing technique that we did with the flowers, you can also do an earth element technique using a black rock. A black rock is also a very natural pulling decharge. So same thing as I said, you can hold it and pray. Right now I'm decharging my stress and negativity into this rock. Use any black rock or stone you have. Black river rocks are especially wonderful, but any black rock will do. So you can, if it's winter and you can't get any flowers, you can try it with a rock. Or you can try both and see which one works for you. I know when I was working in my acupuncture practice, I kept a rock in my car, and it was just, as I was driving home after work every day, I just held the rock and prayed and decharged. So this can be something that you can work into your life as part of a regular self-healing daily self-care. And don't underestimate the power of this, guys. Really, this is life-changing. I'm trained in a lot of modalities, and I cannot tell you a more powerful self-healing modality than decharging through the elements, is what I can say. So we're going to do a mantra meditation. But before we talk about the actual mantra, I want to very, very briefly talk about what are mantras and what is mantra meditation. And again, we're touching on massive topics that I'm just giving the very surface skim, but this is important because the third question I asked at the beginning is, what is the most powerful way? The most powerful way. Of course, I'm biased, and I'll admit my bias. But I have studied in a lot of different traditions and been in relationship with the elements since I was very young. So this is my personal experience, is that the most powerful way to develop a deeper relationship with the elements is through doing mantra meditation that is connected to the elements. And in my opinion, the most powerful meditation technique is mantra meditation. And I grew up, and my parents were very spiritual people, and they meditated, and they invited me to meditate with them since I was very young. And I would sit with them and watch, and they'd close their eyes. So I'd close my eyes, and then I would just sit there and think. And I grew up thinking I'm just a bad meditator because I just think. I mean, I liked being with them. It was very peaceful and quiet. And it really wasn't until I was exposed to mantra meditation that I discovered that I love meditating. Because what a mantra is it's a sound formula that creates a very specific sacred vibration. Now, I am not an expert on there are so many traditions and so many mantras in this creation. So I can't speak to mantra meditation in every tradition, but I think this is a pretty accurate general statement on what mantra meditation is and does, is that they're vibrational codes. So we learn and then say, sometimes out loud and sometimes silently, repeatedly, these vibrational codes, which then create very specific resonances inside of us and literally we feed ourselves these different vibrations with the mantras. And when we first start doing a mantra, it's our mind that does it. So for those of us with active minds that don't like to not do something, you give your mind a mantra and the mind will do the mantra instead of thinking. And if you've never experienced that, I hope you all get to experience the bliss of your mind stopping thinking for a minute and doing a mantra instead. It's just a relief. But besides just the very external relief of the mind taking a break from its ceaseless activity, the mantras also feed the soul. So the mantras are vibrations that feed very special energy to the soul and fertilize the soul and bring the soul up and help us access our own soul. Again, the divinity that's inside of us. Remember, God mixed the supernatural in everything, and that includes in us. So mantra meditation is one way to access the supernatural energy that we already have inside of us, and that's in the creation around us. So mantra meditation is also called japa sometimes, or japa meditation, and it involves taking a certain sound vibration, a certain mantra, and repeating it a certain number of times or for a certain length of time over a certain number of days. And what that does is it creates a channel of that vibration in our soul. So there is a system using mantras of 5-element meditation. So for each mantra, for each element, there's one or more. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. So the mantra that I'm going to teach you today and that we're going to meditate with for a short time together is a mantra that comes out of the 5-element system. It doesn't connect to any one of the elements in particular, but it connects to all of them as a whole. And so I'm going to say this mantra, and again, one thing to remember about mantras is that they're based on something called bijaksharas. Bija means seed. So there's and akshara means letter. There's seed letters. There's seed sounds. So they aren't not necessarily, they don't have meanings that we can translate. They're really vibrational. Some mantras do have recognizable words in Sanskrit or Telugu or other ancient languages that we can translate a meaning from. But whether or not the bijas have a meaning that your mind can understand, or even if they have a meaning and you don't know it doesn't matter. Like whether or not you know that the fire is hot, if you touch it, it burns, right? The energy is there. So don't have any anxiety about the meaning of this, or if you know it or understand it. So, or any other mantra you might encounter in the future. That's our minds, and that's natural. And I love knowing what the mantras mean. And this mantra that we're going to do together, I'm going to say it now, and then I'm going to talk about it a little, and I'll say it again. Is Om Guru Guru Parama Guru. Om Guru Guru Parama Guru. In the case of this mantra, a couple of bijas in there, Guru, translate roughly as light and dark. And Guru is a word that can mean a human soul that is a teacher that helps bring us out of the dark into the light, that lifts our souls into the light of the truth of who they are. In the case of this, it's really just speaking about the energy of the divine that's lifting our souls to the light. That Guru is really just reaching our souls to an elevated understanding of who we are, and an elevated vibration, and a divine vibration, and the truth of the divine energy that you are. So each of the element mantras creates a channel that opens our soul to access more light. And this is a kind of a special little code mantra in the 5 element systems that just helps us access light. So just give that meaning to your mind as something to hold, if that helps. But then relax, because again, it's about the vibration. So I'm going to invite everyone to go ahead and close your eyes and become comfortable in whatever way you need to. Yes, rearrange yourself in your seat, and just take a minute to get comfortable in your body. And yeah, whatever you need to do to be comfortable, and begin to just notice any places maybe that are tense, maybe the back of your neck or your eyes, and just take a minute and relax a little bit more wherever you can. And then begin to notice your breathing. Very just allowing it, not changing it. Just notice the air element coming in and leaving. Don't try to force it to be anything else. And as you notice your breath, it may just naturally slow itself into a more comfortable rhythm. And then take a minute and notice your mind. Just notice if there's any thoughts distracting you. Don't worry. You don't have to try to stop them or change them. Just notice if they're there, and then bring yourself back to your breath. So the most important thing is just be peaceful and relaxed in our time together. And just also take a moment and remember that we're part of a group of over 100 souls doing this together. And when 2 or more are gathered in my name, I am there. And in this case, we're talking about the divine. So we are just in coming together with the intention of understanding more about the divine energy, the cosmic energy is with us. So feel that in your heart and say some gratitude to yourself and to all the other souls that are here blessing you and sharing in this time together. And as you relax, if you want to also hold in your heart the prayer, bless me to experience more light coming into my soul through the 5 elements now. Bless me to experience more light coming into my soul through the 5 elements now. And as you're ready, you can begin to silently to yourself, or if you're by yourself, it's fine to say it out loud, to say our mantra that we're working with today, which is Om Guru, Guru, Paramaguru. Om, Guru, Guru, Paramaguru. Om, Guru, Guru, Paramaguru. So very gently, I'm going to be silent, and just for a few minutes, we're all going to together be in this vibration. And just keep your eyes closed and stay in your sensations, and just silently, at your own pace, repeat these sacred vibrations and feed yourself this soul medicine. So let your gently complete your mantra, and then bring your awareness back into your body and just notice how you feel. Notice your mind. Just let your awareness come back into where you are, and as you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and come back into the class space with the rest of us. And gosh, I maybe should have done that at the very beginning. It's different. Can you guys feel how different our collective vibration is just from just spending a few minutes being quiet and in the mantra together? It's pretty amazing. So I just want to share just a very little bit more about some of the other reasons that, I mean, we've talked today generally about the elements, but the 5-element meditation system, besides we've talked extensively about connecting to the God energy through each of the elements. So if you that is enough. I mean, for me, I just love nature. I would have done it just to have a deeper connection with nature. But another benefit of the 5-element meditation system is it will bring you closer in your relationship with the Divine Mother. Because really, this knowledge and this system, what I haven't talked about is, where does this come from? Like, I'm not making any of this up. This is all codified ancient knowledge that I have been blessed to learn, and I'm passing along to you guys today. So everything I've taught you about the elements comes from something called ancient palm leaf knowledge, which is Shruti, revelation, ancient scripture that was given by the Divine Mother herself uncountable millennia ago to the rishis and the saints, and written down on palm leaves. They didn't have paper then, so that was paper, and copied over and passed along and given from student to teacher, and held mostly in secrecy, and shared, and so it's been practiced by saints over the centuries and proven. So actually in the palm leaf knowledge, there's hundreds of element mantras. There's many, but my teacher, Sri Kaleshwar, who was a young Siddha who taught from the 1990s until 2012, he codified the 5 elements in this form and went through and practiced and picked the shortcuts, so to speak, because this knowledge has been put together in a way that's actually intended for Westerners to practice. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have 20 years full time to dedicate to a spiritual sadhana. I mean, that sounds great, but we all have to be in the world and we have responsibilities. So these are shortcuts that someone who can give an hour a day can develop very real, powerful personal channels to use to heal themselves and awaken their own soul and bless others around them. So the 5-element meditation system is a complete system of meditation that takes about 6 months to complete from beginning to end. And that comes from the ancient palm leaf knowledge as codified by Sri Kaleshwar and shared with the world and shared with the West specifically. So it's something that most all of us can fit into our daily lives and maintain our household responsibilities while still being able to develop our souls and our hearts and our spiritual practices. So this knowledge was given by the Divine Mother, and it ultimately brings us back to her to become vessels of her energy and her love in the world. The 5 element channels also are channels for healers. Whether you're a healer by trade of any kind, or whether you're just someone that wants to be a healing presence in the world, charging the 5 elements is a really powerful way to develop your healing abilities. Again, naturally, you could see that it just connects you in with a source of a lot of cosmic energy. And ultimately, that is the energy that heals at the soul level. Natural healing is great, and I use it, and I practice it, and I'm a fan of it. But the only thing that makes really lasting change at the level of the karmas is soul healing. So even if you work as a natural healer, when I did acupuncture, I always incorporated Shakti energy channel blessings in. And so if you're a healer or practitioner, this can really amplify the power of how you're helping people and how much energy you can share with them. And the last reason that someone might want to think about doing the 5 elements is if you feel stuck in your spiritual process or in your meditation process, or if you're just not having experiences. Because one thing that I love about this practice is that, like I said, it's all about you tasting the mango. It's all about having an experience. It's all about like something happened. It's not theoretical. It's not someone told me. I actually felt something. So that was a really big hook for me and continues to be a big hook for me. And so a lot of people I've talked to who have been very serious meditators for a long time, or been in a tradition that they may love, maybe you feel stuck and you're really thinking, I want an experience. So this is a good place to go if you're looking for that. This is a really common question about the black rock. The black rock, I also am trained in working with stones and crystals through Chinese medicine. We do that, and everyone who does that says you have to decharge rocks that you use for healing. But in the case of using a black rock for decharge, you do not. The rock will cleanse itself. However, if you feel better taking your rock in and putting it under running water or cleaning it or spraying it with rose water, it will never harm it to do something to help it. But no, you do not need to dispose of your black rock ever. The rock has inherent properties that it will take care of itself. So it's a great and common question about decharging. The quotes that I read from are from a book called The Gifts of Shirdi Sai Baba that is available as a free download on the website of the Divine Mother Centers. Yes, you can use any black rock. It's funny, this question has come up before. This is like a huge topic, so you can see how each one of these goes. So I'll say one more thing about the black rock. You really can use any black rock. Someone asked about obsidian. Obsidian is an interesting stone because it's got more fire in it than earth. It's volcanic glass, so it's probably like the least recommended black rock because we're really going for earth element here. So, but if it's all you have and you really want to try, I don't think it's wrong. But I said any black rock, but obsidian's probably not ideal. So, and the prayer that you use with that black rock is really just from your heart. Right now, I'm decharging my stress and negativity into the stone through this earth element. That's it. It's very simple. It's very, very simple, heartfelt prayer. Doesn't have to be complicated. Some minds have a hard time with mantras because they're different and they're different words than we're used to. And some people just don't naturally take them up. And my advice is to start with some very small and simple mantras like the one we did today. And what I didn't say is that the mantra that we learned today, everyone is invited to practice with that mantra. You can meditate with it. You can just sit for 10 minutes a day and open your heart and say your prayers. And for you, Ellie, like your prayer might be like, please bless me to be able to do a meditation with a mantra, because you've never had that experience and your heart is longing to do an enjoyable mantra meditation. So the way to do it is just to start slow and go slow, and you can make a recording or listen to a recording of the mantra and listen to that, or just have it written on paper and open your eyes and say it out loud and just practice like anything. Don't put any pressure. And you'll get it. You'll get it. I have one student I've been working with, and we're not sure, she's not diagnosed, but I think she probably has dyslexia. I mean, she struggles with, and she's completed the 5-element system. And we would just get together and we would just say them together over and over and over, line by line, slow. And she had to fight for everyone. But I know that the God energy saw how hard she worked. And when she got it, she got it. So I'll just say that to you. You can do it. So start small, and then you'll build up your confidence for harder or longer mantras. So that's easy. No worries there. The idea that the mechanisms of the question is, I was wondering where the idea that flowers hold negative energy come from. And that comes from the idea of understanding simply how the mechanism of the earth element works. So earth element will hold vibration, and the flowers, especially because of their beauty, because our attention is naturally drawn to them, and they can be used as an earth element to absorb our negativity. So it's not that any flower anywhere anytime does that, but if we hold a flower with that intention, that can work as a decharge. Of course, we all have. That being said, having flowers in our environment and in our room will naturally raise the vibration and help absorb negative energy. So it's more just a pure mechanism of the earth element. So this is a great question, and yes, this question, I've seen it come through the chat, and I was maybe ignoring it because it's such a big question. So who is the Divine Mother? Oh, good. Thank you, Lakshmi. The Divine Mother is the aspect of God, the female aspect of God. She's the creative energy. In this lineage, God has both a male aspect and a female aspect. There's an aspect of God that's both male and female in union. And there's an aspect of God that's neither male and female. And it's probably one of the biggest topics to get into. But for a very simple understanding, we speak of the Divine Mother as the generative, creative aspect of God that gives the energy to us. And we just call that the mother. You could call it a lot of other things, but we call it the mother. And in my heart, I've always felt that love for that energy as the mother. So it works for me, and it works for a lot of us around here that are living at a place that is dedicated to bringing, there's a lot of souls that want to bring the loving energy of the mother back into the creation as a healing vibration. And so, but it is true that she is the source of this knowledge, and she is the end for all of us. She's bringing all of us back to her. And that's part of the practice. Can we do the flowers as I walk in the park with my dog? So, I mean, yes, that would be a variation on that technique. If you're walking and you see flowers, and yes, you can do that. You can say right now, it's more powerful to be holding those flowers in your hand, but absolutely, if you're feeling stress and you can decharge, and I mean, that's very natural to decharge into the nature. And if there's flowers around, you can decharge into them. There's no problem with that. Really thank all of you for your beautiful energy and your time and your hearts and your devotion. And I really wish you every blessing on your process. And maybe we'll get to be together in the 5 Elements class coming up. That would be wonderful. And if not, I look forward to connecting with each and all of you again very soon. So lots of love and lots of blessings, everyone.